Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor. I wanted to show you a article from the Daily Hodl that's Fundstrat's Tom Lee says Bitcoin, Ethereum, and XRP have staying power in the earliest days of crypto. And the reason I wanted to show you this is because Tom Lee, he's the guy, he's on CNBC all the time. Hardly ever. He may have brought up XRP in the past one time. And I believe that since the market is in such a bear market, I think that he wanted to make an overall point about the market. He was at the Block Show Asia 2018 conference in Singapore, and he says, I think people need to be patient, but I think one of the most important things is that we advise our clients that crypto as an investment should really be 1 to 2% of their allocation, so that number one, they're not worrying about it every day, but also that 2% can become 50% in a decade. It can grow dramatically. He makes a pretty good point there. As we've told you many, many times, don't invest more than you can afford to lose. But I've told you many times that over time, this being a new asset class, there's going to be somewhere in the 0.5 to 1 or 2% allocated to this by every financial advisor in the world in portfolios across the world. But he goes on to say a few other things that are interesting. I think the other thing is to realize that some of the crypto projects are probably hopeless, and he's right here. But things like Bitcoin, Ethereum, and XRP have staying power. And these are the ones where unless you think the protocol is actually completely broken, you're seeing price distortion caused by panic selling. And all he's saying is you're seeing the overall market go down. I've seen this whole thing happen 4 or 5 times. I believe this may be this and probably 2015 is probably the worst, but I believe that this goes in that category because of what is about to happen. We are about to have the biggest run ever, and nobody's gonna be able to look back after this run happens. And I don't care if it happens this year, in the middle of next year, or the next year. It's going to happen because all the stars have been aligned. And so but he goes on to say a few other things here, but more or less what he's saying here, this is simple math of long-term investing, that if you look at the equity markets, the only time you actually earn better than historical average return, so the stock market has a return roughly 7% a year. The only times you earn better than 7% is when you buy in a bear market. So, for instance, if you bought the S&P in October of 2008 at 800, it still went down another 200 points for 6 months. So, in the short term, you lost money. But the S&P is now 28 at 2,800. A lot of people waited until the S&P went to 1,600, which was a new high to buy it. They made a lot less money than a person who bought at 800. The people that make the real money, and this is what I want you to know out of all this, people that really make the real money are the people like you and I who are sitting here in this, and we're buying or holding anyway, and we're holding strong. But what he's talking about here with the stock market doesn't even border on what's coming for crypto. What's coming for crypto as the first new asset class in hundreds of years is going to be much larger than just buying on a pullback in the stock market, which has existed for many hundreds of years. So to me, crypto is exactly at this moment. Bitcoin may have downside in the near term, but does this change the fact that it is still the earliest days of crypto and it's about to become an emerging asset class? Well, those are going to create some much higher prices. And he's right. This is a new asset class. You can if you feel more comfortable looking away from this and going off and doing something else for a while, the Digital Asset Investor will be here when you get back. So don't worry. I wanted to show you this before we go. One of my favorite all-time scary movies is The Shining. This was hilarious. It was put up by @money_alata. 2018 was a very scary year. And they've put no ETF. This is Danny going through the halls on his big wheel. There's Nuriel Rubini, and then he goes to the end, and this is the girls' faces are Craig Wright and Roger Ver. So I thought that was hilarious. Somebody tell me what the face on the kid on the big wheel is, because I didn't catch it. I missed it. I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please hit the subscribe button and the like button and tell your friends and family that this is a great takeoff on The Shining and they should go watch it. Pretty funny. Thanks for listening.